By the time this video is going live, Celtic have just over 24 hours left to submit their squad list for the Champions League playoff qualifier. And yet here we are. No new signings through the door, no reinforcements, nothing but anxiety, sweat, and hope. The clock's ticking, the pressure is mounting, and as of now, we're marching into arguably the most important tie of our season with exactly what we've already got, which, to be honest, still doesn't feel like enough. So let's talk. Let's talk about where we're at, what's coming, and how much of a gamble this whole thing has turned into. Because whether the board wants to admit it or not, Celtic are going all in here, and the stakes, they couldn't be any higher. We now know our opponents. After a dramatic penalty shootout win over Slovan Bratislava, the Kazakh champions Kate Almaty have booked their place to face Celtic in this crucial playoff round. This is the final hurdle before the group stages of the Champions League. 1 more opponent, 2 more games. Win it and we're back at Europe's top table. Lose it, and it's not just embarrassment on the line. It's lost prestige, lost revenue, and a serious dent to the club's credibility on the European stage. Now, I'm not here to just recycle what's already been said a million times. You know the dates. First leg at Celtic Park on Wednesday, the 20th of August, under the lights with that European atmosphere we all crave. Then it's a long, grueling trip across the globe, almost literally to Far East Kazakhstan. 24,000. Capacity stadium 5,000 miles away, in a time zone closer to Tokyo than to Glasgow. That second leg is set for Tuesday the 26th. And just a few days later, a derby at Ibrox. It's a brutal, unforgiving week for Celtic. It's the kind of week that makes or breaks momentum, a week that could see us crowned European contenders or left licking our wounds while trying to keep pace domestically. But here's the real issue. Celtic have not properly prepared for this. This summer window, at least so far, has been a case study in missed opportunity. We're entering a Champions League playoff without bolstering the areas that were glaringly weak last season. No proven striker signed, no real depth added to the attack. And for what? To save a bit of cash in hopes we qualify and then start spending. It feels like the board are playing chicken with European qualification, holding off on signing players until the group stage is guaranteed, rather than investing now to make that group stage a certainty. It's frustrating, it's short-sighted, and yet on paper at least they might just get away with it. Because make no mistake, this was the best draw Celtic could have hoped for. Between Slovan Bratislava and Kayat Almaty, this was the weakest pairing possible. No disrespect to either side, they've earned their spot here, but the reality is that in terms of UEFA coefficient, squad value, and European pedigree, Celtic are miles ahead. This is a tie Celtic should win comfortably, and anything less than that would raise serious alarm bells, and rightly so. But I get why fans are nervous, I really do. We've seen this film before, we've traveled to these parts of the world and made life difficult for ourselves. Shakhtar Karagandhi, Astana. Those names bring back memories that still make your stomach churn. Sure, we scraped through both times, but not without stress, not without cracks being exposed. And this time, the margins are thinner. The expectations, higher. So it's understandable that some fans are twitchy. That worry is creeping in. But let's not kid ourselves. We are heavy favorites here. Kayat Almaty are leading their domestic league, yes, but their experience in Europe is minimal. They've only played group stage football once. That was in the Conference League. They are a solid, hard-working side, but they aren't built to go toe-to-toe with a club that was battling Bayern Munich just last year. And yet this tie comes with all the ingredients of a potential banana skin. Jet lag, heat, hostile atmosphere, and the sheer logistics of traveling halfway across the planet in the space of a few days. It all plays a part. And with Rangers waiting for us just days after we return, there's barely time to breathe. What worries me isn't the quality of Kayat Almaty. It's us. It's the fact that we've left ourselves exposed by not strengthening when we should have. The lack of signings is baffling. It's reckless. And if heaven forbid we don't make it through, heads should absolutely roll. The board would have to answer for the inaction. The manager would face scrutiny over tactics and selections. And the players themselves would have to carry the burden of what would go down as a monumental failure. That's how high the stakes are. But again, let me be clear. I believe Celtic will get through. I've got faith in this team, especially in our backline of midfield. Our defensive setup is arguably the best we've seen in years. Tierney, Johnston, Vickers, that's a rock-solid core. And in midfield, we've got depth, creativity, and experience. It's not perfect, far from it, but it's more than enough to get past this opposition. What frustrates me most is how much smoother this all could have been. We had the time. We had the resources, and yet we waited, we gambled, and now we're sweating, both figuratively and literally, just hoping it all works out. To give Almaty their due, they're a determined side. Their players were visibly emotional after qualifying. Their chairman was out there talking about history, pride, and ambition. They're going to give it a go. They're going to come at us with everything they've got, and fair play to them. They've earned the right to dream. But this isn't a fairy tale. This is business, and Celtic need to treat it like that. Go into that first leg at Parkhead and end it. Don't give them a sniff. Don't let them believe. Because if we can take care of business at home, 2, maybe 3 goals, that return leg becomes a formality. Not a formality in terms of effort or mentality, but in terms of the pressure and risk involved. This tie should not be going down to the wire. It should not be hinging on a 90-minute battle in the middle of nowhere, played under sweltering conditions. We have the resources to take control early, dominate the ball, and punish them. And that's what we need to do. Not just for qualification, but for momentum, confidence, and a statement of intent ahead of the domestic challenges still to come. Look, the fans aren't asking for the moon. They're asking for common sense. Reinforce the squad when it's clear reinforcements are needed. Don't gamble with Europe. Don't throw a season-defining opportunity into the air just to save a couple of million quid. And don't insult the supporters' intelligence by pretending everything's fine when it clearly isn't. Because let's say it again, if we don't qualify, it's on us. No excuses, no bad luck, no blaming the travel. This is a tie. We should win. If we don't, it's a failure at every level. Now, as far as transfers go, it's been another quiet day. Too quiet. No attackers incoming, no flair players to lift the squad or bring that extra bit of spark. The only noise out there is around another defender, Etienne Ute, a centre-back we've been tracking for a while now. Apparently, Celtic are in a strong position to land him. Final year of his contract, valued at around £4.3 million. But again, it's a defender, not the area that's screaming for help. Ute's name has been linked since late June. It's not a fresh rumor, and now with other clubs sniffing around, Besiktas and Anderlecht among them, the deal is far from straightforward. But if we're serious about him and the fee is reasonable, then why wait? Why hesitate? Especially when our current defensive options are temporary at best. Simpson Puzzi's loan ends next year, and he's likely returning to City. We need long-term planning, not last-minute patch jobs. But still, we wait. Still, we hesitate. Still, we cross our fingers and hope this squad, as it stands, is good enough to get us over the line. I want to be optimistic. I am optimistic, but I'm not blind, and neither are the fans. We all see what's happening. We all feel the tension. And we all know that Celtic, for all their quality, are walking a fine line right now. A line between confidence and complacency. One misstep, and it all comes crashing down. So let's dig even deeper into this madness, because it's not just about who we're playing or when the transfer window closes. It's about what Celtic Football Club stands for and how seriously we're taking the platform we've earned. You don't just get handed a Champions League playoff opportunity every year. It's supposed to be a culmination of progress, investment, and ambition. But right now, it feels like we're stumbling into it with our eyes half shut and hoping that history, reputation, and a bit of Parkhead magic can bail us out. And to be fair, they often have. The atmosphere at Celtic Park on a big European night is still one of the most electric in world football. It rattles opponents, it energizes our players, and it has been the foundation for some of our most iconic results. But we can't keep relying on that alone. It's not a cheat code. It's not enough. Football has moved on, and if we're not moving with it, we'll be left behind, singing the same old songs while the big nights happen without us. What really stings is that we're not that far off. This isn't a broken squad. It's not a team in crisis. There are foundations here that a smart club would build on. We've got one of the best centre-back pairings we've had in over a decade. Our midfield, when fully fit, can compete with anyone in the league and hold its own in Europe. And even our fullbacks, when playing to their potential, offer genuine quality on both ends of the pitch, but up front it's paper thin, and that's where the anger starts to creep in. We've known for months that we needed attacking reinforcements. We've seen the goals dry up in key moments. We've witnessed missed chances in big games that should have been buried, and yet what has the club done? Almost nothing. There's been talk, there's been rumors, there's been the usual links to wonder kids and out-of-contract gambles, but actual signings, nothing of note, nothing that tells the supporters we're serious about this. It's not just poor planning, it's borderline negligence. When you have a clear chance to enter the Champions League and the financial boost that comes with it, you don't sit on your hands and hope the current crop can carry you through. You invest, you support your manager, you give the team the tools they need to do the job. Instead, the board's approach has felt passive, hesitant, overly cautious, and that's a dangerous stance to take when the margins are so fine. Because make no mistake, this tie against Kite Almaty might look favorable on paper, but football doesn't care about coefficients or budgets. Football punishes arrogance, it punishes complacency, and it certainly punishes teams who walk into a battle under-equipped. If we go into the first leg without a proper striker to lead the line, without that killer instinct up front, we're inviting chaos. All it takes is one moment, a defensive lapse, a dodgy penalty, a freak goal, and suddenly we're chasing the tie. Suddenly all the pressure is on us. And pressure is a strange thing. It does funny things to footballers. Some thrive under it, rise to the moment. Others shrink, lose composure, start forcing plays that aren't there. That's why preparation matters. That's why squad depth matters. Because when things go sideways, and they often do in Europe, you need options. You need players who can come on and change the game, not just warm the bench for 90 minutes. What's perhaps most galling is that this scenario was entirely avoidable. The writing was on the wall months ago. You could feel it coming. The season ended, the summer began, and immediately the question was, how are we going to strengthen for Europe? Everyone knew it. Fans, pundits, even rival clubs. But the urgency from Celtic? Non-existent. It's as if the board had already decided we'd be fine. That this squad could coast through qualifiers and we sort everything out after. That's not ambition. That's arrogance disguised as strategy. And I know there's a section of the support who will say, calm down, we're still gonna win. And you might be right, we probably will. But that's not the point. The point is that we're gambling with our own potential. We're taking unnecessary risks when we should be building certainty. And when you're operating at this level, you don't get many second chances. You miss out on the Champions League, and suddenly your transfer targets look elsewhere. Suddenly the wage packet on offer doesn't match the stage they want to perform on. And then we're back to square one, chasing cheap deals and justifying failure with excuses. Let's not forget, this is the same Celtic board that's been criticized time and time again for being reactive rather than proactive. How many times have we entered a season behind schedule? How many times have we waited until the last days of the window to make crucial additions? It's a pattern, and it's one that needs to be broken. Because as much as the manager deserves criticism when things don't go right, it's hard to do your job when the tools are missing from the toolbox. Now, speaking of the manager, you have to feel for him in all this. He's walking a tightrope. Publicly, he has to back the players. He has to present confidence. But privately, he must be tearing his hair out. Every training session must be a reminder of what's missing. Every tactical plan limited by who's actually available. And when results start to wobble, as they inevitably do when the margins are tight, he'll be the one in the firing line, not the suits upstairs, not the decision makers who delayed, hesitated, and ultimately left him short. The reality is that Celtic can't afford to keep operating like this. Not if we want to be more than just a big fish in a small pond. Not if we want to actually make an impact in Europe again. Because let's be honest, our recent record on the continent has been dismal. Group stage appearances are fine, but they're not enough. We need to compete. We need to win. And for that, you need investment. Smart, timely, and ambitious investment. So while we sit here sweating over registration deadlines and scouting rumors, our rivals are watching. They're seeing the cracks. They're smelling blood. Rangers will be licking their lips at the schedule we're facing. They know we've got a grueling trip to Kazakhstan, followed by a massive derby at Ibrox. They know we're stretched thin. And if we don't come out of this next fortnight with strong results, the pressure is going to be unbearable on the manager, on the board, and on every single player in that dressing room. This is why recruitment matters. This is why timing matters. We shouldn't be scrambling in mid-August. We shouldn't be playing two of our most important matches of the year with transfer business still up in the air. The ATN youth story is a decent bit of business if it happens, but it's not the signing we desperately need. We're not lacking in center backs. We're lacking in firepower. We're lacking in match winners. And yet here we are, potentially bringing in another defender while our front line remains threadbare. Youth himself has been professional about the whole thing, saying the right things in interviews, keeping it calm, waiting to see what offers come in. And to be fair, he's entering the last year of his contract, so you can't blame him for keeping his options open. But Celtic need to be decisive here. If he's someone we genuinely want, get it done. If not, move on. But either way, we can't afford more delays. Not with time running out and the window slamming shut soon. And let's also be clear, this is not a one-man problem. The lack of signings isn't just on the recruitment team. It's systemic. It's about vision. It's about leadership. It's about the club deciding who we want to be and acting accordingly. Right now, we're stuck in a no man's land. Too big to accept failure, but too cautious to truly chase success. That has to change. The supporters deserve more. The players deserve more. The manager deserves more. And this club, with its history, its fan base, and its potential, deserves so much more than half measures and late scrambles. So yes, I'm confident we'll beat Kite Almaty. I think we'll do the job at home, manage the away leg professionally, and qualify for the Champions League. But I say that with the heavy caveat that we've made it far harder than it needed to be. And if we stumble, if we fall short, then no one should be surprised, because we've invited risk into a situation that demanded certainty. This club, at its best, is a powerhouse, but that only matters if we act like one. If we stop settling, if we stop thinking short term, if we stop treating progress like it's a gamble instead of a responsibility. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Brendan Rodgers may have just lit the fuse on what could become one of the most intriguing storylines of the season at Celtic Park. Whispers have been swirling through Glasgow's East End that the Hoops boss has decided to remove Cameron Carter-Vickers from the first team picture following what insiders describe as a polarizing moment behind closed doors. Details remain elusive, and no one inside Lennox Town's corridors is offering a full account, but multiple voices close to the club suggest a clash of principles rather than footballing ability. Carter-Vickers, widely seen as one of Celtic's most dependable figures in recent campaigns, has rarely been associated with controversy, making the move all the more startling for supporters who had him down as a guaranteed starter whenever. Fit. Those who claim to have witnessed the incident hint at a disagreement that touched on tactical matters, potentially challenging Rodgers' authority during a crucial preparation phase. While Celtic remains silent on the matter, the absence of the American defender from recent training images has been enough to send fans into speculative overdrive, with social media feeds filling up with theories ranging from disciplinary measures to more complex behind-the-scenes politics that could ripple through the dressing room's delicate balance. In pubs, forums, and on every football phone in north of the border, the debate rages on. Is this a temporary fallout or the beginning of a long-term fracture between player and manager? Rodgers, no stranger to handling big personalities, has faced similar moments in his managerial journey, yet few would have predicted this particular chapter to involve Carter-Vickers, whose calm demeanor and professionalism have long been celebrated by teammates and pundits alike. The situation feels even stranger given the timing, with crucial fixtures looming and a title race tightening. Removing a cornerstone of the backline appears at best a gamble and at worst an unnecessary act of self-sabotage. Some seasoned observers suggest this could be Rodgers' attempt to send a message to the squad, underlining that no one is bigger than the team ethos, regardless of past contributions or popularity with the support. Others wonder if there's an underlying injury issue being disguised under the veil of discipline, perhaps to deflect questions from rival managers and the media. Yet, Until official word emerges, the vacuum of information allows the rumor mill to spin freely, fueling narratives that Celtic's inner harmony might be less solid than it appears from the outside. Adding to the intrigue is the fact that Carter-Vickers' contract situation has quietly become a topic of discussion among those who follow the club's internal dealings closely. While there has been no public sign of discontent from the players' camp, there are whispers that negotiations over performance-related clauses and appearance bonuses have been simmering beneath the surface. In such a context, even a minor disagreement during a training session could escalate into something symbolic, especially if tensions have been quietly brewing for weeks. RODGERS, ever the strategist, might view the defender's temporary omission as leverage in larger conversations, whether contractual or tactical. Yet those sympathetic to Carter-Vickers argue that sidelining a player of his stature could erode trust not only between the two men, but also among others in the squad who value consistency and fairness. The situation has also taken on a cultural dimension, with some fans noting that Carter-Vickers, an American with a strong presence in the squad, has become a bridge between different personalities and backgrounds in the dressing room. Removing him, even briefly, could unsettle the chemistry that has helped Celtic weather difficult spells in recent campaigns, creating ripples that extend far beyond the pitch. The Scottish football media, ever eager for a subplot, has already begun drawing parallels with previous high-profile fallouts in the Premiership era. Some commentators recall RODGERS' earlier tenure at Celtic, where his unwavering standards occasionally brought him into conflict with key figures, only for those relationships to eventually mend, though not always without casualties along the way. This latest development invites questions about whether history is repeating itself, particularly given RODGERS' reputation for demanding tactical discipline and total buy-in to his philosophy. Critics suggest that his managerial style, while often successful, can leave little room for open dissent, meaning even a minor tactical disagreement might be viewed as insubordination. Supporters, meanwhile, are split between those backing RODGERS' authority and those fearing the loss of one of the league's most commanding defenders at a pivotal moment. The absence of clear communication from the club only deepens the drama, leaving journalists to piece together fragments from training ground, sightings, insider whispers, and off-the-record remarks from those with connections in the Celtic hierarchy. Until there is a definitive explanation, the mystery will likely persist, each day adding another layer to a story that refuses to settle quietly in the background. In the end, whether this episode proves to be a footnote or a turning point in Celtic's campaign may depend on what happens in the coming weeks. Should Carter-Vickers return swiftly to the starting 11 with nothing more than a vague reference to internal matters, many will chalk it up as a fleeting misunderstanding, amplified by the relentless glare of the Scottish football spotlight. But if the defender's exile extends further, especially into matches where his absence is felt defensively, the whispers will harden into questions, and questions into criticism. RODGERS, who has rebuilt squads and navigated crises before, will be aware that even the perception of discord can embolden rivals and unsettle a fan base that demands both silverware and stability. For Carter-Vickers, the challenge will be to maintain his professionalism and fitness amid uncertainty, ensuring he is ready to reclaim his role the moment the door opens. For now, the green and white faithful will watch each team sheet, each training photo, and each slip of the tongue in press conferences for signs of where this unexpected saga is heading. Until the truth is spoken aloud, the rumor will remain alive, lingering like a low drumbeat beneath Celtic's pursuit of glory. Hello, fan! Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.